Sports is filled with motivational sayings. Give it 110%. No pain, no gain. But what do they sound like to a kid who's under pressure to succeed? When does competition stop being healthy and start being a cause of stress and distress? I asked Perdita Felicien, world champion hurdler, broadcaster, and author of My Mother's Daughter, and Andrew Wong, a clinical psychologist who works with kids, teens, and adults about this and more. Perdita, Andrew, welcome to the Rundown. How are you two doing?
Good.
Great, thank you.
All right, Perdita, I'm coming to you first. You competed at the highest level. What would you say that competition motivated you as a young person?
You know what? I would say for me, I loved the social aspect of sport. And that's what you find if you look at data, like young girls love the social aspect of sports. Whereas boys, like their motivation for sports is really like how far they can push and test themselves. And I'm talking about like before the age of 14.
Mm.
As I got older, right? Because sport was honestly like something I could take or leave. But as I got older, it wasn't until I was like 16, 17, 18, 19 that I'm like, oh yeah, like I really love doing this. But I really did it because all my friends were doing it, to be honest.
What were they doing? What were we competing in?
Yeah, so oh my goodness, everything. Like I tried out for cross country in grade 3. That was an absolute fail. Don't recommend if you like have a lot of like fast twitch fibers. And then I did triple jump was horribly like awfully coordinated. I know it doesn't seems like it doesn't make sense for either, but I couldn't do the hop skip jump part. Long jump was really good at it. Even tried high jump, and I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'5", but I got like third place in the region. Anyway, I'm going off my resume as like an emerging athlete just to say like I did everything because it was cool and my friends were doing it. And then I got to the hurdles, didn't want to do it at all, and my coach made me do the hurdles. He would only coach me in the hurdles, and then that's how I became a very reluctant hurdler.
Okay, there we are. All right. Well, Andrew, it's not just sports, of course. We know in school there is competition. If you have siblings, I have an older brother. There is an internal competition right there in itself. How can a competitive atmosphere affect young people?
Well, I think you hit it on the nail on the head there. Nature has this built-in mechanism called siblings, and they promote this healthy competition, or they can. And I think just like in sports, sometimes you need the referees who come in, and for siblings, it's the parents. And I think when it comes to siblings, what is so important to understand is that they will push each other, right? But at the same time, what we hope to see is this sort of healthy problem solving as well, that there will be laughter and there will be problem solving, and they sort of work things out. And from time to time, parents will hop in and say, okay, I'm going to have to help you guys problem solve a little bit. But this is where I do believe, and the research has shown that those who form these positive sibling relationships can go out there and form these positive relationships in sport. Just like Pradita was saying, the social aspect is so important.
All right, Perdita, you are a parent. Shout out to 6.5-year-old Nova. Knowing how much pressure you were under through your life as an athlete, would you want to see your own child deal with that kind of pressure?
That's a good question. And thank you for putting the half on the 6.5. That's very important
Yeah.
to Nova. I will say that we've thrown her in everything like swimming, tennis, figure skating. Like she's done all the things. And it actually, when she was around 5, I think she heard someone saying this. She's like, Mama, I'm just a child. I'm doing too many things. And I was like, oh, he's like,
Oh.
kind of wanted, I know. I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to have all the things and the experiences I didn't have because I kind of just, did track. It was something I could afford. So about the pressure piece, little poor Nova probably feels some of that and actually pared it back. She's just doing swimming right now and figure skating, and that's enough, the two things she loves. But I will say this, the pressure has to be age appropriate. Right now, what I don't like seeing is the fact that, you see these young athletes, 9, 8, 14. It's like it's become a professionalization of youth sport. They have the nutritionists and the coaches. And I actually think that's unhealthy. It can lead to burnout. It also can lead to them not really doing it for them, doing it to like please a coach or please a parent. And I think parents and all of us who have littles around us need to kind of keep an eye on that. Are we doing it for us or is it really about them and their enjoyment?
All right, Andrew, I'm going to get you to pick up on what Perdita said there, but help us understand what's the difference between healthy and unhealthy competition?
Healthy competition, it's so important to focus on the effort, to focus on the skill development, the positive reinforcements of praise, and celebrating the relative achievement of that child. I think so many times, I mean, it's built into human nature. We will compare. I get parents in my office all the time saying, "Oh, I wish I didn't compare, but I do," and I always remind them, we do. We compare, and that's okay. But we have to be aware of that. And is it a healthy comparison or not? Right. And so when we talk about healthy competition, it's knowing that, okay, we are going to celebrate that relative achievement. If they've never jumped an axle before in figure skating, and this is the first time, we celebrate that. Doesn't matter if, another child on the other side of the rink is doing a double axle, right? Doesn't matter. Um, and then with unhealthy competition, the piece around that, there's just so much emphasis on winning and losing. And I think nowadays there's so many different levels of competition. Like Perdita was saying, I mean, you can have a 6-year-old who is being chosen for, a single A team, a double A team in hockey. And what does that even mean to the child? And so when we go into that level, it becomes problematic because now we're just emphasizing winning and losing. We have to emphasize the fun and the learning and the skill development. Um, you know, Sometimes when we put too much pressure on kids, we emphasize, oh, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you have to do this better. And we indirectly produce this notion of shame. And so when they feel shame, now they're scared of making mistakes. Now they're only playing, as Perdita mentioned before, to please the coach, to please the parent. Oh, I scored 3 goals. I'm gonna get praised today. I didn't score any goals. That's gonna be a tough one on the car ride home.
Perdita, I want to get your take. What do you think the difference is between healthy and unhealthy competition?
I've been through like every level of sport, grassroots, emerging, elite, professional. It was my job for a long time. And I have seen some coaches that have been the reason that athletes don't excel. So I'll give you a quick understanding. I had a world class and elite training partner for a really long time. And so I competed for Canada. I won't say her name. She competed for another country. But so when we were in university, she'd do great. And then she'd go back for the professional season, let's say Olympics or Worlds. We go back and so I'd see her, we weren't at campus, but we'd be like, let's say at the Olympics or the World Championships, wherever they were that year. And she could not get it together. Like she wouldn't even make a final. And it was so confusing to me. And I remember asking my coach, like, why is it when she goes back home, like she doesn't perform? And it came down to her coach being so high strung, so stressful, yelling at her that her ability to perform under pressure was lost. And so you see those unhealthy environments when an athlete really can't normalize failure, is not allowed to fail. If you see your young emerging athlete looking over at you as the parent or looking at you as the coach for confirmation if they should move, they should make this play, should I, ask to come off the field? Those are the things that are starting to really become unhealthy because that child's not able to make decisions for themselves. You want, like Andrew said, to have this environment where, the child feels free, they're enjoying themselves, it's fun. And the other thing I want to stress, and I'll say this, is we have to normalize mistakes,
Mm.
right? You have to normalize, and people hate this word. I love this word, failure. It's okay. And instead of saying to your child, nitpicking and analyzing, just say, oh my goodness, it was great to see what you did today. When Nova comes off the ice, she's not a great skater yet, but I have dreams of her maybe, being a prolific figure skater. See, I'm projecting. But the point I'm trying to say is when she gets off the ice, I ask her, like, how did it feel? It looked great. I love it. I can't skate, but you're 6.5 and you can. So I think you have to really check yourself as the parent and the coach and then make sure that child is really doing it for the right reasons.
All right, Andrew, Perdita had mentioned the commercialization of sports. Sports has grown so much. Do you think parents are feeling pressure to put their kids in competitive sports or grab that camera to film that highlight reel to post on YouTube so the scouts are watching? Because we know scouts are watching, but do parents feel that pressure?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. So just some self-disclosure, I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, and the 9-year-old is a figure skater as well. And even she sometimes asks, "Hey, did my club put that video of me out there?"
Oh.
Right? And then you have my 7-year-old who wanted to try out for select baseball. And so, yeah, there's a lot of commercialization. That's a huge part of it nowadays. I think, yeah, money is a factor. Every club, every league wants to generate profit. And so you have, like I said before, like four different levels of hockey, four different levels of baseball, and everybody is trying to recruit. So I do think that's a huge factor, plus social media too.
All right, in the last few minutes that we have, Perdita, do you have any advice to share for youth or the adults in the room on how to maintain your self worth during the ups and downs of winning and losing?
I love that question. I think that you have to diversify your child's identities. And so, if the only focus in the household is them being a hockey grade, a hockey star, and having to go to the rink and whatever the arena of play is, I think you do your child a disadvantage. Because here's the truth: majority of the human population does not go to the Olympics, does not go and win, a Stanley Cup. Sorry to break it to you, moms and dads, spending all these $1,000 on these things. Do it. Love the development idea of it, but the point is, if that is the goal, if that's the idea, no. So I think you really have to check yourself and be like, no, I'm doing this because there are things my athlete is going to learn from sport that will serve them forever. And there's things I remember learning from, when I was 9 in club track. And then when I was, 18 in university, where it's like, now I'm accountable. If I say I'm going to do something, I say it. Also, when I've not worked out for a long time, I can get back on the treadmill and do it again. These are just the efforts. It's like me able to do things and try hard to be uncomfortable are lifelong lessons. I don't have all these, medals hanging around, but well, like actually I do. Sorry. Not everybody has all these medals hanging around, is what I meant to say, right? But the point is, what's more lasting than these rusty, dusty medals is really those kind of the intrinsic motivation I have to grow myself and to be better. And so that really has to be why you do it as a parent, and just make sure at the end of the day that you're not projecting what you want on for yourself onto your child. Let them have their own goals and their own dreams. And if they go on to be the next Sidney Crosby or the next Perdita Felicien, touche, I'm too horn. Yes, great. But just do it. Just do it for them.
Andrew, a lot of people have a hard time with the phrase, winning isn't everything. Adults, youth, parents, whatever it be. How can parents help their kids figure this one out?
I think first and foremost, let them play, let them enjoy themselves out there. This idea that winning isn't everything. It's true. Going back to what Perdita was saying, sorry, it's being able to build resilience throughout their lives. Take what they can learn from sport into everyday life. Resilience. What is resilience? Right? It's the ability to be able to say, "I can do hard things. I can ask for help." Some of the athletes who I work with, they are so scared to ask for help because they think they have to do it on their own.
Mm.
But research has shown that resilience is built on being able to be resourceful and to ask for help. So that also means that they can be vulnerable to others and trust others that they know better. And so being able to take that away through sport. I love sports because it teaches so much about life. So when they go out into the work world, can they ask for help instead of trying to figure things out on their own? I hope they can.
All right, we are going to leave it there. Andrew, Perdita, thank you so much. Lessons not just for the young ones, but for the adults as well. Really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thank you so much.